The specifics of the event that unfolded and the 18 hostages that were taken, it also affected Australia's collective psychology. It was a wake-up call because, in essence, it was a clear public indicator for us that there were members of our community who were capable of committing such extreme acts. Although there's many different definitions of terrorism, literally hundreds of definitions of terrorism, in its simplest form, it's any action or threat which is causing harm or interference, or the threat of harm or of interference with the intention of advancing a political, religious, or ideological cause. And acts of terror obviously get used as interference or disturbance due to the level of distress and hype, in most cases, being much more significant than the probability of an incident actually occurring. With Australia's known modern terrorism since the 1960s, but what might not be so commonly known is that our first terrorist incident occurred back in 1915, on New Year's Day in 1915, in Broken Hill. Two men who were camel drivers had made a decision and conspired together to attack a train. So Mullah Abdullah, a 59-year-old Islamic priest, conspired with an ice cream vendor called Mahoney Ghoul to attack a train carrying a large amount of people that were on the way to a picnic. They opened fire with 2 rifles, killing 4 people and injuring another 6 people before they died in fire coming back from the police and also from army personnel. Letters were found on the men afterwards, after their death, and basically the motivation was deemed as being the fact that Mr. Abdullah was angry at being prosecuted for illegally slaughtering meat the way that he was doing that. And the reason he was supported by Mahoney Ghoul was because he wanted to fight on behalf of Turkey, just against an ally of the British. The Yugoslav travel agency bombing in 1972, the Sydney Hilton bombing in 1978, and the bombing of the Hakoah Club, and also the Israeli consulate on the same day in 1982 are some of the examples of terrorist attacks and incidents that have happened right on our doorstep. But in addition to these events, there's been many notable terror plots that have occurred as well, such as the 1975 Black September terrorist group plot to assassinate Bob Hawke. Another example of this was Fahim Lodi in 2003. He planned to bomb the national electricity supply network and also attack various military defence sites. So during that time and during the subsequent investigation, he was found to have detailed maps of the electricity supply network, as well as 38 detailed high-resolution aerial photographs of military installations. During the investigations and subsequent prosecutions, during this, the investigation with the terror plots, a variety of different targets have been identified, from the AFL Grand Final, the Australian Grand Prix, through to establishments such as Crown Casino, and obviously major utility infrastructure networks as well. Since Justice Heaps' Protective Services Review, that was way back in 1978, successive governments have reviewed the legislation and also the agencies enforcing the legislation to deal with the changing face and scope of terrorism. But it's only after the horrific incidents and the sheer magnitude of what occurred on September 11 did our policies really gain momentum. The momentum to reflect a growing threat against Australia and Australians specifically. And this was simultaneous with a dramatic rise in public awareness. This new law is expected to go before Parliament this week, also regarding people with dual citizenship who join terrorist groups being stripped of their Australian citizenship. There's obviously concern about new homegrown jihadis who are being groomed to step up as leaders of local terror cells. And what is the level of maturity? What is the level of preparedness in actually conducting an attack? But how are these people groomed? How are these people recruited? If we hear the radio even this morning, there's been a mother of 2 who's left her 2 children with a babysitter, and she's now contacted her boyfriend from over in Turkey, saying that she's not coming back, she's going to go to be a bride of ISIL. So how are they groomed and recruited? If these people do leave, how do we stop these battle-hardened, experienced fighters from returning and passing on the new skills that they've learned to others? If the worst does occur, how prepared are we? How drilled are we to be able to effectively respond should a major terrorist incident occur in our backyard? These are some of the questions on our minds as security professionals, as community members, and also as family members. And these are some of the questions that our esteemed lineup of presenters are going to impart some of their specific knowledge on today. So thank you for attending this important and timely educational conference. I'd like to officially open and welcome you to our conference, Australia's Terrorism Landscape.